What's up, guys? We're here doing problem set number 2. My name's Elijah. I'm one of the ISAs. Excited to help you guys get to know a little bit about Rhino. So hopefully you've already done problem 1, which is about orientation. Today we're going to go a little bit more over how you're going to start to construct 2D drawings. Great. So up first, we're going to start with the line. Basic as it gets. So we've got a little activity here. You can go in and mess with all the different lines, but just to refresh you on the command line. So we click up here, or it automatically enters you up here, and you can type in the command line. You also can type in the command polyline, as we'll do in a second, but go ahead and hit line and just draw it across. Boom, there we go. We learned about layers in the last one, but we see that we've got blue layers, everything drawing on the new line layer right now. We've got it cyan. I might want to make mine magenta. You'll see it'll change it. Press spacebar, it redoes your command line. It redoes the previous command right away. These are great. Okay, so all these lines are crooked right now. That sucks. So if you click once and then you hold down the shift key, it's going to snap to either straight up and down or straight side to side. So that's by far the fastest way. I want to draw another one. I do my first click, I hold shift, and I drag the distance I want. I click again, boom. Quick other thing, if you want to duplicate a line, you select it by dragging across it, hold down Alt, and then drag it. It'll just take a copy of that line out of that line. Just another quick add-in that's not on there. Next one we're going to do, polyline. Boom. Command, enter it just like that. Polyline. Sorry, I lost my mouse for a second there. And we're going to see that this line has a whole bunch of different points. Great. That's a polyline. So I'm going to recommend, and I'm going to let you guys go crazy in doing as many of the lines up in here as you can find. So if you click here and hold on this, you can see that there's a bunch of different parameters about different ways to draw different kinds of lines. So I'll do the circle as an example. So if I click, I pick the diameter circle. So if I click once, my second point is the second half of the diameter. You're thinking, duh, that's how circles are drawn. And I would say, well, no, look at all these other ways that you might get to draw it. And this is going to be really important when you're starting to try to design and draw something complex, being able to pick this specific option. So this is the 3-point circle. So you draw 1, 2, 3. You get to pick the circle exactly as you want. This is going to come up as you're designing your project, how to create interlayered pieces. Cool. And so he's drawn a bunch of lines in here. Go ahead and draw a bunch more using all of these different options, and you can just read up here, start of conic, tangent, or perspective. We'll do a tangent one, like curve, and we can see that we can generate a line that's the tangent to a point on this curve. Very cool. So go ahead and explore those. Now that we've gone through some line types, we'll go over some editing tools. Perfect. We're going to go over Scale 1D in the third tutorial, but I'll go over it now. Big ones. Trim, trim, extend, offset, scale. So he's going to describe it in here. Go ahead and read this. I'll just do a quick demo that goes over all of them right here. So I'm going to draw one box, draw a second box, do the command trim. I'm going to select this to be my cutting object, press enter, object to trim, this. Boom, perfect. I'm going to do the command extend, select boundary object. These descriptions are going to tell you everything that I'm doing. Let me give a little visual example. So to extend, it says select boundary objects. So I want this line to extend out to here. So this is my boundary. And then press enter. You can also press spacebar, do the same thing. And select curve to extend. Boom. If I want to extend this one also, boom. Perfect. Okay. Next one we've got here is offset. Select here. Select this. This is the object I would like to offset. Command offset. There's all of these options in here. Distance to offset, the kind of offset, the kinds of corners. I actually do have a preference. I want to create smooth corners. And it's giving me a preview here of what it's creating. But I actually want it to be farther out than that. So I'm going to click the distance option and change distance to 4. Boom. Click here. And there you go. This line is an equidistant offset from this line. Awesome. While we're here, you can see when I click this, I've got all of these points of editability. So it's not, in Rhino, generally, you draw things exactly as you want them. You don't necessarily spend a lot of time editing lines, but points on lines are the easiest ways to edit them. If I just grab this point and pull it, you can see I can redefine the parameters, and that's because this is a polyline. So if I select these two, pull this, all of these different sorts of ways start to edit lines. So go ahead and read through all of this, but that's just my quick demo of what these do. Oh, and the last one is scale 1D. So let's say this is a window here, and I've got my building is real. This square here is my building, but I would like to scale my window. So if I do the command scale, press enter, click in the corner where I want to scale to, click far away and drag smaller, I can see that I get to fully scale it and make it smaller. Now that looks pretty great. I might select these, hold Alt, and drag the red arrow and get a couple more. But let's say I decide I want to make it taller. I can't scale it because that'll just make it bigger, right? It'll vary it in X and Y. So what I'm going to do instead is select them both and do the command scale 1D. So what that does is it lets you pick a dimension, 1D, as in 2D or 3D. So we're just going to scale it in one dimension as opposed to the two that you normally would. So I would like to scale it, so you've got our dimensions here, Y and X. So I would just like to scale it in the Y. So I'm going to click in the middle here, click in the middle here, and drag it up. So you can see what it does is actually stretch all of the pieces of that. There's some distortion. You can see this is no longer a full offset from it. But through a combination of tools, you can create exactly what you want. So I might, for example, delete this, offset this, and now there we go. So now we've scaled it longer and offset it. Perfect. Moving along quickly. Here are some more complex tools, but I don't want you to be scared at all. Just like we saw, it's going to guide you in the command line through the more complex ones. One I would definitely like to show you is mirror. So I'm going to go back over to my demo over here, select all of the objects that I have, and do the command mirror. So just like in scale 1D, where you're picking the dimension with which to scale, now we're going to pick the dimension and orientation with which to scale it. So I would like to scale across this way. So I click here, I click on this side. You can see I can freely rotate it, but I actually am going to hold shift so that it locks into the ortholinear projection. And so by holding shift and moving it around, I can get it right where I want, and then right click again, boom. So what I've done, imagine this is a water line, and down here, we've reflected it across. We can do that again, the opposite direction, mirror, go like that. And so this might be helpful if what you're drawing is symmetrical, because you can draw half, or even in my case, a quarter of what you need to draw, and then mirror it, and then make your edits that you need to make. But yeah, definitely explore all of these different interesting options to learn more about drawing lines. All right, so now we're going to enter 3D space, as we learned in the last tutorial. So I'm going to do the other way, which is a shortcut. You see I have top perspective, front and right. So I know on Mac you can click here, right by your viewport, go to set view and change to perspective. Alternatively, you can click down here. I'll do this way for you guys. And we can see we've got a new set of problems over here, a little bit far away. So what I'm going to do is click here and do the command zoom selected, which is shortened as ZS. Boom, here we are. So here's a quick challenge. So you're going to work in 3D space. You can see we've got these odd 3D dots. And so the O snap option, which is right here, could be somewhere else. I believe you can do the command O snap and see all of your different O snaps are on. You're going to need to make sure that points are on here. And generally, take a second, take a look at what I have turned on for my snaps. To turn it on and off, you just simply click it. match what you have turned it on and off to what I have, and note that near, most importantly, near is off. Near is very confusing. It gives some sort of random approximation. Um, so what we're going to do, I'll just start it for you, is you can see we're in 3D, so we're going to be depending on that snap. So I start here, click once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it looks like we've sort of drawn a 2D line, but when we hold right click and drag, we can see that we've connected points in 3D space. So this is not going to be required for this first assignment, but it's definitely an important skill. All right, here's our last step here, and note zoom selected, just like I just did. So if you got stuck in Zoom land, Zoom selected, you don't have to log in. You don't have to go to class on Zoom selected, but you do want to use it all the time. We've got our emails down in the bottom. Feel free to reach out to us. I hope you read through all the little notes in this tutorial and that you enjoy it. All right, and we'll see you in ISA office hours. Great. Thanks.